What's up, everybody? We're doing a bonus tipping point here with Mike Tipton. I got my dude Danny Hoban hanging out with us. It is NFL free agency right now. We just start the show, and I think that's why people are tuned in. We got 30 people tuned into the show right now to talk NFL free agency. So what I'm going to do, Danny, this is a pretty cool thing that we're going to do starting the shows from now on as well, is I'm going to put the invite in the link for people to join in to talk to us if they want to be a part of NFL free agency frenzy that we're getting right now. A lot of stuff has been happening. I woke up this morning, I saw a message that was like, oh, hey, Russell Wilson to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers for 1 year, $1.2 million. And I was like, I guess, right? Like, it's Russell Wilson. That's not a big splash. I even thought to myself as I rolled my eyes one more time, I was like, what a way to start free agency. And then it was just like a landslide that's happened.
Yep.
Out of all the stuff that we've seen so far, what do you think has been the more interesting one?
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, 4-year, $180 million deal with the Falcons.
I
Not
get-
only that, but $50 million signing bonus.
And then
Not
what,
bad.
90 million guaranteed?
Yeah.
Like, Kirk Cousins keeps making money, and he's like an okay quarterback. He's not great. He's not terrible. But, man, could you imagine just being mediocre at your job and then getting like 84 million guaranteed and then another 90 million guaranteed?
You know, but he's one of those guys that he could win a couple Super Bowls, and we could be like, yeah, we could see that. So I wouldn't call him mediocre. I would say that he's top 7 quarterbacks in the NFL.
No, you're
yes,
drunk.
He is.
You've already been drinking. You got the
Me and the
Miller
Falcons
Lite.
think on the same level, all right?
You've been drinking the Miller Lite and the Topo Chico and everything like that. Like, you are beyond drunk, my guy.
Why can't you just stay with Miller Lite? Why you got to throw me under the bus with my Topo Chico seltzers?
I mean, I've never had one, so I'm assuming that they're good.
They're delicious.
You are the epitome of manliness in
Thank
my
you.
mind. My guy Jesse Carter saying Russell Roethlisberger should be the name right now for Russell Wilson. I mean, I'm down with it, man.
Maybe.
I mean, he is nowhere near as athletic as he used to be. Like, he's not great, but he's not. I guess you'd think he's like a top 8 quarterback because I put him in that Kirk Cousins category. So apparently he's that good.
Yeah, but look at this, what the Steelers did last year with 0 quarterback. I mean, they did okay.
They had Mason Rudolph.
Oh, come on. The guy that got clunked in the helmet by that dude. What was his name?
Myles Garrett.
Yeah, Myles Garrett. No. I mean, so I think Russell Wilson, first of all, we forget. I think he had 23 touchdown passes last year, 8 interceptions with the Denver Broncos. People act like he shit the bed, and he did okay. I mean, he did all right. Did he get enough time in Denver? I don't think so. I would love to be a fly on the wall with him and Sean Payton to figure out what exactly happened there. But he could go and run the table a little bit with Pittsburgh with what the team that's built around them.
The co-host of Fire and Ice, Brandon the Iceman Cohn, is watching right now as well. And I told him this 2 years ago, whenever the Denver Broncos signed Russell Wilson, that the W in Wilson stands for washed. The dude looked like absolute dog shit the first year that he was in Denver.
First year.
And kind of got on the same page. But this was a team that's playing from behind a lot. So to me, those are inflated numbers. The 28 touchdowns. I want to say, 9 interceptions? Maybe it's 26 and 8, something like that. Decent numbers. But again, it's because they were so pass heavy because they were playing from behind the whole time. Yeah, they might have been like in the graphic as like the team in the hunt as the season's coming towards an end. But you knew if that team made the playoffs, they weren't going to do anything.
Yeah, but think about the improvement from with Mason Rudolph. Is it an improvement? Absolutely. Is he going to be who he used to be? No. But can he help move the needle and get a couple more wins to get them even more advanced in the playoffs coming 2024? I definitely think so. Am I a Russell Wilson fan? Not really. No, I mean, he's done a lot. Again, we talked about this 2 years ago at the draft when we went to Vegas, that he's a great locker room presence. He's a great leader. You know, he's got a lot of good things. Is he a little bit washed up from who he used to be? Absolutely. But can he move the needle for the Pittsburgh Steelers from who they were last year to now? Like, most definitely.
I mean, yeah, I guess like is he an improvement on Mason Rudolph? Yes. Is he the best of the quarterbacks that were out there as free agents? No.
But
right?
they're paying $1 million.
And I think that this is what it is, right? It's like the 1 year prove it deal for Russell Wilson. And this is the cool thing too, is that you knew whatever team that got him was going to get him on the cheap because Denver's still paying him $36 million. So he's still got a salary, right?
Yeah.
Also, that has to be one of the worst trades in the history of sports, is that Russell Wilson trade, because, oh my God, they gave up a lot for that dude and got nothing back from it. But whenever you look at what Pittsburgh has, what this is going to do is allow them to have a veteran quarterback presence there to help guide someone like Kenny Pickett. I don't think Kenny Pickett's the quarterback of the future of this team.
I don't either.
But it also gives them, for the guys that are there, for George Pickens, for Najee Harris, for like those types of players, it gives them, okay, maybe we have a veteran presence that might be able to get us over the hump. They're not the best team in the AFC North. They're not better than Baltimore. They're not better than Cleveland. They're not better than Cincinnati. they kind of know who they are at this point, right?
Right.
I think that they kind of do that as well, where you sign Russell Wilson to keep him away from Cleveland, because I think he would have done a lot better in Cleveland than what he would have done in Pittsburgh. But that's again just my thought process on that.
No, I agree. Yeah.
So you're a big Kirk Cousins guy.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have him as the 7th best quarterback in the NFL right now.
Maybe more than that. I said top 7. He could be number 1. You don't know.
Okay, so let's go through your list. Who's your top?
No,
7?
I just threw that out there. I'm not going to put him in the top, only the top 10. I think he's top 7. I think just watch him play. Like, does his track record show for it? Like, does he have Super Bowls under his belt? No, but like the guy is a great quarterback. He's going to put up some big numbers, and if you can get him in front of a young offense and show them the ropes and start turning those losses into wins, I mean, you never know. I wish they would have gotten Bill Belichick. I mean, that would have been sweet to watch those two tandem down in Atlanta. But whatever.
I don't think I would have liked to see Kirk Cousins with a Bill Belichick. I don't even know if I like seeing him now with Raheem Morris. I would like to see Kirk Cousins with the offensive-minded coach, a head coach that loves offense, that'll try to put them in the right position. Because I look at what Atlanta has in having our guy Drake London, and having Bijan Robinson, and having Kyle Pitts. You have names, young guys that could be what you need to take that next step, being guided now by a veteran quarterback. I don't think he's top 10 like what you say, but I think he's better than most, right? He's going to be top 15, top 20. And again, right there, you're kind of just, splitting hairs, right?
Sure.
So for me, like, he's not a terrible quarterback, but I want to see him in an offense that showcases what he's allowed to do, what he's capable of doing. Because as we saw, his best years in Minnesota is whenever you had Adam Thielen, you had Justin Jefferson, you had offensive weapons for him, you had Dalvin Cook in the backfield. Now, if I'm Atlanta, I think I might trade down some of my picks here, get some extra draft capital, and start getting a lot to surround him here, because you're giving him 4 years.
Yeah.
The window for these young guys, Kyle Pitts is the oldest one. He's been in the league 2 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is going to be a team that, to me, could cause some damage. And that NFC South is so bad that they could run that division for the 4 years that Kirk Cousins there. He'll be 39 years old, but as we've seen with quarterbacks now, that age ain't nothing but a number.
Is there somebody else that you would have liked to see go to Atlanta instead of him?
I think I would have liked to see Atlanta get like a Russell Wilson type of guy, right? Because to me, that contract, even though it is kind of friendly to the team, is still going to be something that blocks you from being able to sign Bijan Robinson long-term, from being able to sign Kyle Pitts long-term, right? You got Drake London for 5 years. I think you've got Kyle Pitts now for 3 more years, right? So maybe you're just really aiming at that window, saying, let's just get to the playoffs and see what happens, because anything can happen in the playoffs. I think what it does now is kind of like what what Jesse Carter was saying here with Pittsburgh. That Pittsburgh contract gives them the ability to keep a TJ Watt, to now start spending a lot more money on the defense, trying to get some of their big name players shored up.
Yep.
It does the exact opposite now in Atlanta.
Yep.
You can't shore up a lot of guys because you've got a lot of money tied up in your quarterback.
Yeah,
now it's not near as much as what he had in the past, but it's still a lot of money tied up in the quarterback.
Yeah, that's a good point. You could have had a Russell Wilson, which there was rumors about him going to Atlanta for a long time. It got real close there for a little bit, but they could have signed him for $1.2 million the way that Pittsburgh did, and then either add pieces around him or lock up some of these younger guys. Yeah.
I was surprised that whenever I asked you to start the show here, and once again, we are doing an impromptu tipping point with us, because I felt like the NFL free agency, that was the tipping point. All the stuff that we got, all the alerts and everything else, getting on my phone was like, man, we got to do something.
For sure.
We were going to record today. We just had no idea what it was going to be.
That's right.
So you were shooting from the hip, and here we go, right? But I was surprised that you didn't say that the thing that shocked you the most, because it shocked the hell out of me, was watching the Green Bay Packers sign Josh Jacobs, a running back from the Las Vegas Raiders, and release Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
That, to me, if they would have kept those two, that's one hell of a 1-2 tandem. Now, obviously, they've got some dead cap space that they've got to try to move around with. But I look at that, and I'm like, oh, man, now you got Aaron Jones on the market. Our guy Brandon the Iceman Cohn saying that Gus Edwards just went to San Diego. The Cowboys have to sign either King Derrick Henry or Aaron Jones to keep up with the Joneses. And the pun was 100% fully intended right there. I look at what the Dallas Cowboys need, and I don't know if it's a running back. They have so much more that they need to address that I don't know if running back's the way to go. I would love to see Aaron Jones. Trust me, as a Cowboys fan, as an El Paso guy, graduated from UTEP, would love to see Aaron Jones with the Dallas Cowboys. Number 33 on the Dallas Cowboys. Don't know if they'll do that, though, because they've given it to worse, right? But man, I don't know if the Cowboys need to spend money there.
But losing Tony Pollard, now you have who?
So this is my thing, right? Tony Pollard to me wasn't great.
Right.
I think the Dallas Cowboys offensive line, even without Tyron Smith, is still pretty damn great.
Right.
And Rico Dowdle last year to me was the more explosive back. So if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I would have liked to have gotten Gus Edwards because now you got the big back that can punch it into the end zone, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you go after, and I got to look at the names that are still available here. Maybe you go after one of these other running backs, like these lower guys, like a J.K. Dobbins, right? Like maybe even an A.J. Dillon. Like A.J. Dillon, that big body guy that can push in to the end zone. The one guy I want him to stay the hell away from is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But if they go out and they sign Derrick Henry or they sign Aaron Jones now, I'm cool with that. If they sign Austin Eckler even. I like Austin Eckler. I think Austin Eckler's a dynamic running back. I don't know if the Dallas Cowboys need to focus in on that. I think you can probably draft a guy. Don't spend money on the running back position because we know that that's a position no one cares about. Tony Pollard just got signed right now for 3 years, $24 million. That shows you the value of a running back in the NFL right now.
Yeah, but back-to-back 1,000 rush yard seasons for Tony Pollard. You're losing that guy, and we already lost Zeke a couple years ago.
But that's the thing is I think you can get 1,000 yards from a running back from basically anybody. With that Dallas Cowboys offensive line, and they don't focus on running the ball anyway. Like if you're a running back for the Cowboys, you got to be able to receive. You got to be able to do a whole bunch of different things. You can't just be a one-trick pony. Aaron Jones is that guy. Austin Eckler is the guy. Derrick Henry's the one-trick pony. So to me, like if you're going to spend that money on him, I don't know if I'm going after Derrick Henry.
I don't know if I would either.
That doesn't fit the offense of the Dallas Cowboys.
Aaron Jones?
Aaron Jones to me would be
He
interesting.
can catch the ball. He can check down. I mean,
I'd love to see it, but again, the Dallas Cowboys need so much more that's kind of shoring up that type of money. And maybe it's not a lot, right? Maybe it is a 3-year, $30 million deal that Aaron Jones gets to come down to Texas. No state income tax. That's always the sell for the Dallas Cowboys. No state income tax. So for me, it's
100%.
It's like maybe that's the thing, right? It's not going to be a huge contract. Byron Dalrymple also saying that the running back must block as well. The Dallas Cowboys need to focus in on defense. Jesse Carter saying the Cowboys really need to pick up a 3rd and 4th down running back. I thought Pollard and Dowdle were really good at it. Rico Dowdle, I don't know if anybody watched him, number 23 with the Dallas Cowboys. When he was in the game, dude ran hard.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like lowering his helmet.
Yeah.
He's a little itty bitty dude. And maybe they're putting some stock into Deuce Vaughn too, right?
Yeah.
The 5'6" scat back guy that runs, I think his 40 was like a 4.3. So maybe you're putting some stock into these younger guys, knowing that you can have anybody back there running the ball for the Dallas Cowboys. It's all about the downfield passing game.
Yeah, but and I can be the first to tell you right now, because I try this on Madden all the time. I try to throw it 65 times a game, and eventually the defense is like, they're going to throw every time. If you don't, I'm joking partially, but if you don't have that rushing attack that can kind of keep the defense honest, I mean, maybe not a Derrick Henry, but at least, I mean, if you can run the ball 2 or 3 times like in a row and still get 4, 5, 6 yards every carry, then the defense starts to choke up. You start running play action, use Dak and your receivers to get you those big, plays down the field. I mean, that's, I think my biggest address for the Cowboys now losing Tony Pollard and these great running backs being available in free agency is the running game for sure.
And I'd like to see what the Dallas Cowboys do, right? Like, and for those of you that are watching right now, if you're not too familiar with what the show is, Mike Tipton, Danny Hoban, we're based here in El Paso, Texas. Both of us Dallas Cowboys fans. Texas is always going to be Dallas Cowboys country, except for maybe half of Houston, right? Like that's just the way that it's going to break down. Half of Houston likes the Texans. The other half couldn't care less about the Texans. All of it's about the Dallas Cowboys, right? So whenever we look at the Dallas Cowboys and the things that they need, I kind of think about the extension of the running game, right? I think we're so far removed from running straight down the middle, like straight down the gut, that you need a dynamic type of running back. You need a guy that can block. We've seen it. Aaron Jones can block.
Yep.
He was protecting the hell out of Jordan Love over there in those games against the Dallas Cowboys. Like even if it's a little chip block, he's putting a body on him, right? So for me, whenever you see that, you got a guy like that, a guy that can catch out of the backfield, because that screen pass to the running back, that right there is one of the more dynamic plays that gets you a ton of extra yardage. Derrick Henry can't catch the ball. The dude can run. He's a refrigerator running down the field, but he cannot catch the damn ball out of the backfield.
So your opinion, Cowboys, what's the first move in free agency?
Right now, if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, if I'm trying to make the fans happy, I'm going after someone like an Aaron Jones.
Well, not only that, but if you're trying to win games, think like Jerry Jones.
Okay, so if I'm the Dallas Cowboys and I'm trying to win games, what I'm doing right now is looking at the linebacker position. The Dallas Cowboys got cut up the gut right there. I'm also looking at like the defensive tackle position, that nose tackle type of position, interior defensive line. I'm looking at the names that are here, right? You got Leonard Williams is still available. Other than that, I can't really. Maybe Fletcher Cox, he just retired though. Like Quentin Jefferson. I look at those names. I'm not thrown away by any of them. I'm looking at the linebacker position. Maybe you go after like a guy like a Patrick Queen to shore up that middle linebacker. We've heard all the rumors about Leighton Vander Esch more than likely going to retire. So that's where I would go from the Dallas Cowboys. I'm focusing on the defense because my offense was dynamic last year, and it didn't really run on Tony Pollard. Like Tony Pollard wasn't the guy. Michael Gallup now has been given the opportunity to seek a trade. He wasn't even the number 3 or 4 receiver on that team now, right? You got CeeDee Lamb, you got Brandon Cooks, you've got Jake Ferguson that has shown up as just like the most badass tight end on the team right now. Those guys were the ones that were carrying the offense. I think the offense is good. Get a halfway decent running back. If you're going to spend some money on there, cool, but get him at a discount. But focus in on the defensive line, focus in on the linebackers. Your cornerbacks and safeties, maybe safety you might want to upgrade at, but your cornerbacks and safeties are great. Trayvon Diggs is going to come back, and you got 2 guys that have led the NFL in the last couple of years in interceptions. And Deron Bland last year set an NFL record with like pick sixes.
Yeah.
So I mean,
awesome.
you've got some ball hawks back there. You just need help on that interior because people were able to run the ball down the Cowboys' throat.
So let me ask you this. So in the most recent Cowboys game, Cowboys 49ers in the playoffs, and we hold them
Cowboys Packers.
or Cowboys Packers. What was I thinking?
When
did the Cowboys lose to 49ers?
Yeah.
1912.
Yeah.
But so offense is not your, because all season long we see it every year, right? We build around all this offense. We have all these weapons, and Dak's having a hell of a year, and then all of a sudden playoffs come, and he shits the bed, or whether it's whoever's fault it is. So you don't think running back in that position because right now, if you're not like a diehard Cowboys fan, you don't know who's going to be carrying the ball for you, come this year. We don't.
I even think hardcore Dallas Cowboys fans have no idea who's carrying the ball for them right here. I'm sharing the link on my personal page as well on Facebook. I see that my guy, Stephen Michael Puga, has tuned in to the show as well. He's a hardcore Eagles fan, so I'd like to see what it is that he is, what he's thinking about the Eagles now. For those that are out of the corner or, might not have all the information available, Danny, I think you have all the stuff right here in front of you. I'll let you recap all of the running backs that have been signed today, because it has been a ton of them, a lot of movement right now in the NFL. Who are the running backs and where are they going to be?
Well, all right, let me pull it up here. So, free agents in general this year is crazy.
Yeah.
But running backs, Saquon Barkley, Philadelphia Eagles, right? 3-year, $37 million. I think he has the cap to get 42 to 45 million. Josh Jacobs signed by the Packers. Derrick Henry available. Tony Pollard signed with the Tennessee Titans, 3-year, $24 million deal. Austin Heckler, DeAndre Swift signed with the Chicago Bears. J.K. Dobbins, Devin Singletary signed with the New York Giants, 3-year, $16 million deal. Gus Edwards signed with the Chargers. A.J. Dillon, Zach Moss. There's a handful of people still available, but we saw today that how quickly people are disappearing off that free agent tracker.
Well, I think that's the reason why, right? Is because running back now, you can just get any guy. You're not going to be paying the running backs a whole bunch. I put up a reel on Instagram, which was the guy from We're the Millers, that redheaded kid. He's like,
oh, yeah,
you guys are getting paid. That's how running backs feel right now. Like, you guys are getting paid. Like, obviously we're not getting any money.
But if you're an owner, would you do otherwise? They're sometimes in and out of the game in 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. Like the lifespan of a running back is so short that you've got to capitalize on it, right? And that's what I'm saying. If I'm the Cowboys, maybe there is a running back out there in the draft that I can get in like the 3rd or 4th
That's
round.
A good point.
Right? So I focus in on, maybe I go get defense. Maybe I trade up. Maybe I trade somebody like that. I haven't said it yet, but I'll say it right now because I've been waiting to put out like my mock draft. This is what I think the Dallas Cowboys should do with their 1st round pick. I think they should draft Michael Penix Jr. because he's just like Dak. Like he's not a super mobile quarterback. He can get you a 1st down if he needs to run. But the Dallas Cowboys, whenever you look at what's going to happen with Dak Prescott, that quarterback, him commanding $60 million a year, is insane.
Nah.
And if I'm Jerry Jones, I'm not paying that because you're already handcuffed by the salary cap.
Right.
So why not bring in a young quarterback? he's not going to have any expectations on him being drafted at number 27 or whatever it is the Dallas Cowboys are drafting at. Yeah. Let him learn under Dak. Do what the Packers have done over the last couple of years, right? Or I guess the last major transitions with quarterback. Have Hall of Fame quarterback. Have really good quarterback. Draft their replacement. Let the replacement sit under them for 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
Trade that quarterback.
Get stuff back.
Yep, and then start the cycle all over again.
Right.
So I think that's what the Dallas Cowboys should do. Like, go get a Michael Penix Jr. type of guy, because you draft him in the first round. You've got him basically locked up for 7 years, right?
Yeah.
It's the 5 years on the contract, plus you can franchise him twice.
Yep.
So you've got him locked up for that. You can find out what he is. And then what you do is you save money. That's the main thing the Dallas Cowboys have. And they have so much talent, but they don't have any depth because they don't have the ability to stretch out the salary cap the way that they need to.
So if Aaron Jones doesn't end up with the Dallas Cowboys, I mean, what are you thinking? I mean, I wonder what he's thinking right now. Because he had a decent year. I mean, he missed a couple games. He only rushed for like 700 yards last year, but he had a 1,200-yard season the year before that.
And he ended the season on fire for that. I think it was 100%. like four straight 100-yard games. He had the big game in the playoffs.
TDs,
they don't win that game in the playoffs without Aaron Jones.
Exactly.
Right. And then they're not competitive against the 49ers without Aaron Jones either. Like, A.J. Dillon was hurt during those games, so they needed Aaron Jones to carry the load for them. If I'm Aaron Jones right now, like, it sucks, but it's the business, right? And I also think over the last couple of years, there's been those rumors of the Packers moving on from Aaron Jones. A team out there that I think Aaron Jones would be really good on, that I think he would like change the game for, would be like the Baltimore Ravens. Because we've seen them say, okay, maybe we go after another running back. J.K. Dobbins was one of their running backs. Gus Edwards was one of their running backs. They've lost those guys. They've had a history of leading the league in rushing over the last couple of years with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Why not pair him, Aaron Jones, with Lamar Jackson, and then give him what J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards couldn't do? A running back out of the backfield that can catch the ball. So now you have that extension. Once again, how the screen pass, the swing pass is an extension of the running game. You have that ability now with a guy like Aaron Jones on a team that has a guy that's the MVP,
right?
That could also really be a really damn good team and possibly get to the Super Bowl. Now, obviously, you got to deal with the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't see the Chiefs signing Aaron Jones. Maybe just maybe the Buffalo Bills. But I'd like to see where his mind is. You know, he grew up a Cowboys fan, so maybe there's a possibility of that one happening.
Yeah, I just think,
or he goes to the Texans.
Despite what the team may need in our eyes, or even, upper management's eyes. I mean, who knows? But we've been talking about Derrick Henry being a free agent all off season long. I mean, and could the Cowboys get him and all these things? And now Aaron Jones is available at a discount of a price. He's a local guy, and I'm a fan. I mean, I'm not just because he's from here, but he can pass block. He can run the screen. He can check down to go out for a route. He can run the ball well. He's small, he's agile, but he's got strength. I mean, he's somebody that I think that, man, I would give it a high percentage chance that the Cowboys are going to sign him as the starting running back, which would be awesome for all of us.
Let's look at the quarterbacks that are still available right now. The ones that have signed: Kirk Cousins, Baker Mayfield, Russell Wilson. We can take them off the board now. But we got Ryan Tannehill, Gardner Minshew, Jacoby Brissett, Jameis Winston, Tyrod Taylor, Sam Darnold, Drew Lock, Tyler Huntley, Josh Dobbs, the Pastronaut, and Mason Rudolph. All those guys are available. Out of those ones, which one do you think would be like the guy that you would say, okay, maybe this would be someone that we can have on our roster that'll help us out, right? And then, of course, what teams actually need a quarterback right now? Because I'm looking, maybe Carolina could use one of these guys. Maybe, I mean, you don't go to the Jets. The Patriots just traded away Mac Jones over to the Jacksonville Jaguars for a late draft pick as well. So maybe the Patriots are one of these. Maybe you bring Jameis Winston, the gunslinger Jameis Winston, over to the New England Patriots, where you'll get 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions, and all the W's being eaten as well.
A lot of these guys on here are fantastic number 2 quarterbacks. I mean, Ryan Tannehill,
like backups, right? Like Gardner Minshew.
Yeah. I mean, you got Jameis Winston, Tyrod Taylor, Sam Darnold, all could be great to especially like a Sam Darnold or a Jameis Winston, or one of these guys that have been in the league, a Ryan Tannehill. He would be great for somebody that if you have a good young quarterback that they can kind of show them the ropes and kind of teach them the way. And if God forbid they go down, you got Ryan Tannehill as your backup. Like, but for someone to come in and change the game. I mean, those guys are gone. I mean, Baker Mayfield, Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson, even if you want to throw him in there, those guys are, and that just shows, unlike baseball, this free agent, signings are happening rather quickly, which is probably nice to see as fans. You don't have to wait around. I mean, not to be off topic, but there's still 4 fantastic baseball free agents that have not signed with anybody
that's
in this
because of their
spring
agent,
training.
though.
I know, but at some point as a player, you got to be like, dude, you're screwing me here. Anyway, that's for another topic. But no, it's as far as quarterbacks, I mean, Ryan Tannehill, I guess. I mean, that's if I had to choose one that could go somewhere and help them win some more ball games. Ryan Tannehill, maybe Jameis Winston, because he's still got some stats. I mean, he's still doing all right, but other than that, I wouldn't throw anybody else in there.
So Ethan Bean saying Tannehill to the Pats would be a great move. We also have one guy here. I normally don't do this because Brandon gets uncomfortable whenever I roast people. I think you and I are pretty close enough, and we're
That's
kind of
our
on
language.
kind of on the same wavelength here.
Yeah.
This is the comment that he says. He's like, 2 viewers. I'm impressed. Danny, can you see how many people are looking? Also, just so you know what type of person this is, the I guess profile picture, because you're such a coward you can't even have your own face on there. It's a middle finger with a F Biden on it, and I can't read the small print because it's stupid. How many people?
65.
65. Oh, okay.
Maybe he's looking at the 2 thumbs up that were, because there's 2 likes.
I think what he was doing was looking at the 2 thumbs up that are in his ass.
Ooh. Definitely. Well, I want to know. He should mention right now if he's still in here. He should say who he is and stand by. If you're gonna troll somebody, if you're gonna comment, you should be a man about it.
Oh, 100%. Instead of hiding behind a fake profile picture.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there, pussy. Anyway, he would never be able to play football.
No.
Not at all. He's like, 2 viewers on Facebook. Cool,
man.
We're on Twitch, Twitter, or X, I guess is what it's called now. YouTube, 4 different Facebook pages. So we're good, Mike.
Pornhub. We're on all of them.
Fap Chat.
There you go.
That's probably where he's watching that. Little fat. Yeah, the voice will get you, my guy.
That's
I mean,
true.
I know exactly how it is. So looking at the running backs that are available as well, Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, we kind of spoke about this as well. J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards. Now we can add Aaron Jones to the list. A.J. Dillon, Zach Moss, Deontay Foreman. I can't believe Deontay Foreman is still playing. And then, of course, from the Kansas City Chiefs, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who has to be one of the biggest draft busts in the history of the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm looking at those running backs. We obviously know Derrick Henry is going to be the cream of the crop on this one.
And he's going to get paid.
But is he the number 1 guy now that Aaron Jones is out there?
Most definitely.
He's still number 1.
Yeah, he's number 1.
Even though he's 2 years older than Aaron Jones.
Yeah, but that dude he's a different. Every now and then you see these athletes come through the league, whether it's the NBA, NFL, MLB, and they're just different than everybody else. Derrick Henry's one of those. Now you're going to have to pay a pretty penny. So if I'm the Cowboys and I do plan on extending Dak Prescott, paying him $60 million a year eventually, which I'm with you, I would not. But if we do go that route and you can get an Aaron Jones for a discounted price and not be much less production out of him than you would Derrick Henry, then I would go that route. But if I need dire need at the running back position and I'm an NFL team and I have the chance to get somebody like Derrick Henry, I would most definitely go for it because he's someone that will produce.
And I think that's the thing that I'm worried about, right? Like usage rate. He was ran into the dirt by Tennessee, and obviously, he's a physical specimen. He's like a LeBron James playing football, right? Yeah. So how much has he been worn down? How much is still there left in the tank? What can he give you? Because whenever you look at running backs that hit 30, that have that workload on them, or Ricky Williams type of guy, what's he going to be able to give you now past 30? But I think whenever if you were to couple him on a team that has a lot of talent, right? If you put Derrick Henry on the Ravens, that's a pretty damn unstoppable team.
Yeah.
I think, oh, wow, I wouldn't have even thought about it. If you would put Derrick Henry on the Miami Dolphins, I know they led the league in rushing last year with Raheem Mostert and with the Devin Achane, right? If you put Derrick Henry on that team and you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and all the talent that the Miami Dolphins have, that's a pretty damn near unstoppable team. God forbid he goes to San Francisco. Because if Derrick Henry were to go to San Francisco, you pair him up with Christian McCaffrey, that's a Super Bowl winner right there. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, and we got to remember, too, in all these NFL teams, Derrick Henry's 30 years old. He's played in the league.
That's old. That's ancient for a running back.
That's ancient, and he's played in the league for 8 years.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So if he's thinking he's going to get a 4 or 5 year deal, that's like, there's no way. I mean, when's the last time, and I don't know this, but a running back played 12 years in the NFL, like, and was productive? I can't think of anybody.
Adrian Peterson, maybe?
Yeah, maybe,
Yeah.
but he got injured all the time. I mean, but yeah, that's tough. So who knows? I mean, he might get one of these 2-year, $110 million deals, as you know, just to get the most production out of him for the next 2 years. But do I think he's going to sign for a 4 or 5 year deal? I don't.
So the 40-year-old virgin Robert Powell keeps saying that it's funny that there are we two guys want to be sports newscasters.
Mm.
I just wish people would do their history sometimes. I just search
Yeah.
up simple stuff. It'd be
Yeah.
great. Anyway,
Just Google Mike Tipton. You'll know exactly who he is.
I mean, you don't even have to do that, right? Like my guy, trust me. I wouldn't do this if I didn't know how to do this stuff. But Danny, also a former baseball player, professional baseball player. He probably could still hit 117.
Ew. Kilometers.
God, what would that be in miles per hour?
I don't know.
Thanks, American, not using the metric system.
Ask that jackwagon that's on there.
I'm sure he knows all of the conversions from the metric system.
I wonder why people even jump on. You know what's crazy is sometimes I'll get on, I'll get on the Instagram and I'll talk shit and I joke around.
Yeah.
And there was one where this guy, lost his leg and he plays college baseball.
Nice.
He lost the bottom half of his leg. So he went out there on one of these like crutch things and he went up for an actual at bat. And it was like this whole thing. And everyone was like, this is an amazing moment in sports. This guy lost his leg and now he's going for an at bat. And, it was awesome, right? Good feel good moment. And of course I joked around and I put in the comments and I said, this is an awesome story. He struck out in 3 pitches though. And I was joking. And dude, people got pissed. People were like, you know what? You must be a real sad individual. So like, I'm all for like joking around and clowning. But this guy just seems like he's going a little, he's upset.
It's literally on every show. Like I love the fact that he watches every show.
He's
always watching every show. He's trying to get some stuff. He watches every Fire and Ice. I just don't do it whenever I'm with Brandon because Brandon's a lot more professional. He's a lot more polished than what I like try to be, right? Because I'm more of I don't give a shit, right? Yeah. Like you want to come talk shit, you want to ride this train, we can ride this train. I got no problems with you, my guy.
I think that shit's funny.
But anyway, so I'm the same kind of guy, right? Like I think there was a thing here in El Paso, like FitFam put up, and it was the new UTEP football coach, and he was like running up and down, like trying to get the basketball team like amped up, and he's like painted orange. He's got like the Miner hat on. He's got like the pick in his hand and all that stuff. He's like just running up and down the court, and I was like, by the way, UTEP lost by 14. Like just so we're clear on this, because to me, like, okay, so my thought process on it was like, oh my God, look at how amazing this guy is doing, right? And I was like, let's talk about what the final score was. Football coach.
I mean, I personally do it just to try to get a rise out of people. I think Bill Burr says it best. He said even when Trump and Hillary Clinton were going back and forth in the election, he's like, man, I would tweet out, Trump's such a dope that I have to actually think about voting for a woman. And he will sit back and just watch both sides get pissed off just because he's joking. And it's funny. Like we can separate between joke and reality. And but I feel like this guy's maybe a little bit too bothered. I mean, is that all he said? He didn't say anything else? Like, because I said some stuff to him, like, he should at least come out and say who he is.
He didn't at all. Like what he put right now is have a nice day. You too, sweet cheeks. I'm pretty sure your prison boyfriend's going to be happy you're getting back to him. All right. So going back to the NFL free agency and everything that we have around it, you turned real quick like someone was out there. I was like, oh my God, am I in trouble? Is that Walter? Oh no. I was like, yeah. Oh my God, it's not iHeart. Did I say something? No. Like, was I on the radio today? No. Okay. FCC, please don't find me. But going back to the NFL free agency and everything that we're seeing right now, I think the position that's kind of the most interesting to me is whenever you look at the wide receiver position. You still have some big names out there: Marquise Brown, Calvin Ridley, Gabe Davis just signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars, giving them some dynamic receivers as well for Trevor Lawrence, Odell Beckham Jr., Tyler Boyd, some people that are out there, Michael Thomas. I mean, you look at this list; it's like a huge list because we know how valuable the wide receiver position is. And you don't want to spend a ton of money on a wide receiver that's not going to get you any production.
Unless you're Mike Evans and you get 2-year $41 million deal. To pay $20.5 million for a receiver is 10 years ago would never happen. Like that is crazy.
Yeah, but I think Mike Evans getting that, like that's based off of just history, right? Like he's
worth it.
He's had 10 straight years of 1,000 yards receiving or more. Like the dude's really damn good. It's just I kind of look at the names that are out there. And none of those names really wow me, right? Like if the Dallas Cowboys had signed Mike Evans, I'd have been like, okay, well that's pretty cool. But I don't think that would have moved the needle that much. I think CeeDee Lamb's much more dynamic.
Yeah, but Mike Evans brings a different dynamic to that offense. I mean, he's a different kind of receiver than CeeDee Lamb is.
Yeah.
No, Mike Evans is one of those that I feel like doesn't get enough credit for how good he is. He was, I think he went to Texas A&M, even coming out of, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, even coming out of, I think he played with Manziel there, but even coming out of Texas A&M, he was like a big deal. And he kind of, you know, being in a small market like Tampa Bay, you kind of forget about him a little bit, but he's a badass. I mean, I would love, I mean, man, if seeing Odell Beckham Jr. on here, I mean, he's just, it's tough with him too, you know, but this is another one of those, like the quarterback's position. Like it's tough because, you know, there's not a lot of like, and if there was amazing names like a Michael Pittman Jr., a Mike Evans, they're gone already, you know, and that's why maybe some of these NFL teams feel the pressure to try to sign some of these guys because they're disappearing so quickly, which as a player, if you're a free agent, this is a good chance to maybe get even more than what you're valued because people are so pressed to make a decision so quickly because they're disappearing so fast.
I think that's the thing too, right? Is like you need to find where you ride that line, right? Of do I want to spend money on this guy who at one point might have been a name, or do I want to go after someone in the draft that maybe they can be good?
Yeah.
But the thing that we've seen with fans, especially, and like, you know, we're fans. It's always first. We're fans first.
For sure.
It's so hard to make fans happy, right? Because let's say the fans wanted the big name wide receiver. You don't sign him, but he goes to another team and he winds up becoming a bust. He's out of the league in the next year, right?
Yeah.
Or you get that draft pick and the draft pick doesn't pan out. Fans are going to be mad at both of those scenarios.
Yeah.
Right. And even if you get a guy like in the 7th round, they're going to be like, why'd you waste the 7th round pick on that? Because now we're looking at what Brock Purdy has done, changing the value of being the last pick in the NFL draft, because maybe that guy can get you to a Super Bowl. Right. Yeah. So now I think no matter what it is that teams do, you're going to make the fans mad. So you might as well just try to roll the dice with some of this stuff. But again, like a lot of these teams, when I look at the Dallas Cowboys, I think they're 13 or 25 million over the cap. Like that's after it extended out another $30 million, right? So there's not a lot of room that they can play with there. I want to say it's the team that just Denver, right? You have $85 million in dead cap space, so now you can't spend that $85 million, and your fans are going to say, okay, well, you just got rid of Russell Wilson. What are we going to do to, like, you know, be a team that can compete with Kansas City? Because the last thing you want to do is see that team in your division constantly winning Super Bowls, right? So they want to try to find a way to get them. And then you look at the Raiders. The Raiders are better than the Broncos. The Chargers are better than the Broncos. So now you're kind of like, okay, what is it that we're going to do?
Which makes me wonder why this whole thing happened. I know Sean Payton went to higher ups and said, I want him out, but I would love to know what the reason is, because it's doing a lot of damage. So unless Russell Wilson did something crazy, I don't understand why you wouldn't just suck it up, go with that contract until it ends, or at least try to show that he's got some value left, that you maybe can trade him and maybe pay half of his contract to whoever you trade him to, and they pay the other half, or somehow get rid of him. But just I
don't think anybody was going to trade for that contract, because it was like, even if you pay half of it, like look at Pittsburgh right now, they could have made that trade, right? Like, let's trade for him, but we can, like if you release him, you're paying him $36 million this year.
Yeah.
Now all I got to do is pay him 1.2.
But he had a good year in 2023. He had a decent year in 2023. If you can come out in 2024 and him have another decent year, like a good year, to show that he's still got something left, maybe you could have gotten some, because now they're stuck with what? No quarterback. They've got no, star quarterback or any, plus they're in debt with all this contract money that they owe him. That just seems like, but back to what you were saying about, if you make the fans happy with the draft pick or trading for somebody or sign a free agent, what if it doesn't work out and all this stuff? NFL teams don't even listen to that. Like, I would love to know how many times GMs or special assistants in the GM office, listen to, well, what do the fans want? They don't care. They're talking to their scouts. They're looking at what the team needs, because they know more than we do, of what they ultimately need. So a lot of times, I feel like, sure, if you're the 2011 Denver Broncos, are you going to sign a Tim Tebow to sell some jerseys to bring some millions of dollars in? Sure. Yeah, that stuff does happen. They do listen to the fans every now and then, but for the most part, they're doing what they think off of all of their expertise.
Because the fans are always going to be there.
Exactly. Yeah, right? Very true.
And then the thing is too, why are the Dallas Cowboys always the number one watch team? Because people want to either watch them fail, or or their fans want to watch them win. Right? There's no in between right now, right? So I think that's the I agree with you. Like GMs, presidents, no one gives a shit about what the fans think. It's about, okay, what's going to help our team maybe win, or maybe you plan for the future going forward, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what Denver did, because at the end of this, like, okay, maybe there's $85 million that they can't spend. They're saving that. So next year they're going to have another $85 million that they can spend on top of not spending $37 million on Russell Wilson.
But they're not going to spend that $85 million this year, right?
No, but they'll have it available next year.
But they're still paying it next year.
No. So debt cap is like, it's not that they're I guess the best way to explain the way that the dead cap works is it's a number of money, right? They're not paying Russell Wilson that $85 million. It's just $85 million you are not allowed to spend because you're not honoring the rest of that contract.
See, that's good
right?
for us to hear.
The guarantee that they owe Russell Wilson is, I think it's $36 million times 2. But what they did by the release, by him not being on the roster by the 13th, is they don't have to pay that $36.7 million next year.
Gotcha.
Right? So now you don't have to worry about the bonuses. You don't have to worry about that stuff. And then next year, whenever it comes, you're going to have roughly around $120 extra million in cap space that you can utilize.
Well, then that's why they did that.
So long-term thinking, okay, yeah, I can do that.
I get that.
But whenever you think of that short-term stuff, it's like, it really, you look at your team, you're like, man, we were kind of in that window. Like, we could have been one of those last playoff teams. Who knows what could have happened? But you look at them getting rid of Russell Wilson and you think to yourself, yeah, he had a decent year last year. But again, like, he wasn't the Russell Wilson of old. He wasn't the Russell Wilson they traded for.
No.
That they gave up all that draft capital for, right?
No.
And I think that even if they had kept Drew Lock, they would have had a guy like Noah Fant. They would have had a lot of other players that make Seattle such a good team that the Denver Broncos have to be kicking themselves in the ass over this. So they're just trying to save money for next year and going forward.
Well, see, and that's where I was confused, because in baseball, if you cut
it's all
somebody,
guaranteed.
yeah, you got to pay him that no matter what, and it really screws you. So no, I'm glad you cleared that up.
Yeah, and that was the reason why that they have the dead cap rule, is so that NFL teams don't just sign you to a long-term contract and then cut you the next week.
Right.
Because as we know, NFL contracts aren't guaranteed, so they don't have to worry about paying that.
Right.
But they do get penalized in it, right? So if the Dallas Cowboys traded Dak Prescott last year, the cap hit would have been $82 million. This year, it's almost like a 50-50 split, right? He's making 47.8. I think the cap hit is like 52.
Gotcha.
So you're kind of paying it off. The time that you want to get rid of someone is when the cap hit isn't that big. The dead cap hit isn't that big. But the Denver Broncos might be setting up a new thing, saying, you know what? We'll bite the bullet. We're going to save $37 million going in 2025. And, if whatever we do in 2020, like, we're throwing this year away. The fans have to hate it. But it's a great business model.
Well, and here's the stats. Last thing on my boy Russell Wilson. In
My
2
boy.
years with the Broncos, they traded away draft picks number 9, number 40, number 145 in 2022, the 5th overall pick, number 37 in 2023. They gave up Drew Lock, Noah Fant, Shelby Harris, and $124.02 million. He went 11-19 as a starter with a 90.8 passer rating. So none of
that is great.
Not
right?
what they thought.
But that's because, like, the 2 years leading up to that, he wasn't that great in Seattle. And I know people were telling me, well, he didn't have any targets. He had DK Metcalf. He had Tyler Lockett.
Yeah.
Like those are some pretty damn. They made Geno Smith almost made the playoffs.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Right. Like there's not a whole lot that you can do here to excuse Russell Wilson. I think the dude is he should be a Hall of Fame quarterback, right? Like, he's not borderline. He is a Hall of Fame quarterback. Well,
I'd have to look at his stats.
You also think Kirk Cousins like number 7 quarterback in the NFL, in NFL history. Joe Montana, Kirk Cousins, same guy.
I didn't say history. You're an idiot. All right.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you too. Okay, so let's go over this, right? You said maybe top 10. I've been thinking about the quarterbacks right now.
Currently, like starters.
Currently, right
teams,
now.
Yeah.
Yes. Are you taking him over Patrick Mahomes?
Come on.
That's a no, right? Are you taking Kirk Cousins over Josh Allen?
No.
Are you taking Kirk Cousins over Dak Prescott? That's a no. We both know it.
I guess not.
Are you taking Kirk Cousins over Lamar Jackson?
No.
Are you taking him over Aaron Rodgers?
Yes.
Really?
For 4 years?
I guess we can go with that with the 4 years. You know what? I agree with you on that one.
I know you're a big Aaron Rodgers fan, but I don't mean to offend you because I know you love him.
Oh, yeah. No, he's my favorite quarterback. Me and him do
Mike hates Aaron Rodgers.
We do ayahuasca all the time.
I love ayahuasca. Okay, good.
I'm looking up other NFL. Are you taking him over Jalen Hurts? No. Are you taking him over Brock Purdy, who just went to a Super Bowl?
Yes.
Even I hate the 49ers.
He's a game manager. Who said that?
Cam Newton.
Cam
Newton said that.
I mean, there's a lot of truth to that. I mean, that's tough. I would say yes. I would take him over Brock Purdy.
Oh, wow. Okay. What about I'm trying to think of like other big name quarterbacks. I don't think we have any more big name quarterbacks.
And I think you named 6. So then my prediction of number 7 is exactly correct. Thank you so much for clearing that up.
Hold on. I got to look.
No, I got to look.
I got to look at the list of actual quarterbacks in the NFL.
Well, let's just go through it. Baker Mayfield, I would take Kirk Cousins. Chase Young, I would take Kirk Cousins.
Well, Chase Young is a.
Well, I'm just going up the coast, the East Coast, Florida.
Chase Young is a defensive end.
No, who's the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers?
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young.
No one's taking Bryce Young.
I'm going up the coast.
What about CJ Stroud? You taking him over CJ Stroud?
Yes.
That's a lie. That is a lie, and you know it. I can tell by your face that's a lie.
CJ Stroud had a great year. And I like as some Cowboy
for the
fans,
next 4 years is what you're saying. Over the next 4 years, you would rather have Kirk Cousins than what the ceiling of CJ Stroud.
Now, if I'm a GM and I'm going to pay CJ Stroud whatever the hell he's making this next year, maybe $8 million, or I don't even know what he's making, versus Kirk Cousins paying him a $50 million signing bonus plus $10 million or whatever the hell he's going to make next year. No, I would take CJ just from like a financial standpoint. But if I get both quarterbacks like neck and neck, like going up against one-on-one, yes, I would take Kirk Cousins.
Are you taking Kirk Cousins over? Wow, this is like giving me a list of every quarterback that's ever played the game. Holy shit. Man, that's a bad list. Are you going to take him over Matt Stafford?
No.
Are you going to take him over Jared Goff?
Man. You fuck. Can we say fuck on here?
Yes. Let's call the guy a pussy.
I know. Sorry. Sometimes you forget which show you're on. Like, can I curse or not? Oh, man. Yeah, I would take him over Jared Goff.
Okay. I mean,
top 7 or 8. I mean, that was a pretty accurate.
So now let's go to the rookies. You taking him over Caleb Williams?
I hate Caleb Williams. So, yes.
I just wanted to get that right.
I know. Yeah. I'm like, you know this. Like, why are you trying to upset me? Yeah, I would for sure. What about any of those guys? I mean, you wouldn't take him.
I would not take him over Dak Prescott. I wouldn't take him over Jordan Love. I wouldn't take him over.
You wouldn't take him over Jordan Love?
No, I think what Jordan Love showed us last year.
Yeah, great.
Like, he's going to be really damn good. Would you take him over Joe Burrow?
Man, I love Joe Burrow.
He's starting to fall down that list, man. I'm telling you.
I know, but yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's another one. Yeah.
So I think for me, it's going to be Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. Like I said, Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson. Then I'm going to go in with, like I said, Jordan Love. I think it's going to be CJ Stroud. I think the upside to CJ Stroud is a lot better. What about Trevor Lawrence? You taking him over Trevor Lawrence?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. You already said over Baker. Maybe you taking him over Tua?
Yes. Wow. Tua will be out of the league in 5 years.
There's no way.
Yeah, his head's gonna pop off.
Yeah. It's just gonna explode.
So why did Jacksonville trade for Mac Jones?
Backup quarterback. I mean, you want a guy that's experienced to be your backup. So I think that's the only reason why, right? They're not going to get rid of Trevor Lawrence for Mac Jones.
No, I know.
Mac Jones has shown nothing.
Yeah, I know.
But I kind of like this, though, because I wonder who the quarterback is, because I would have thought that Russell Wilson was going to go over to New England and be their quarterback. And instead, they just completely said no. I think they're just going to rebuild out of a whole thing. I don't want them to draft at the number 2 spot a quarterback because they need so much more. And we see drafting a quarterback with nobody around them gives you nothing.
Yeah.
So for me, that's a wasted pick. Like they've got to just be punting on this season and hoping that they get more draft picks coming up because they are in a lot of trouble. The New England Patriots have got to be one of those teams that the future looks extremely bleak for them because there's no talent on either side of that team. I can't even think of who a wide receiver for the New England Patriots is, or a running back, or a tight end. Like who the hell do they have on like offense as skill players?
Yeah,
that's insane, man. Like that team used to be loaded.
Sucks,
4 years ago, that team was loaded.
Can't blame Bill for that. So overall,
he was the GM.
Yeah, just kidding. All right, listen, NFL draft 2024. So Bears number 1 overall. They'll probably take Caleb Williams.
Yep.
Commanders number 2 and New England number 3.
Yeah.
Biggest needs: quarterback, tight end, offensive tackle, wide receiver, running back. Everything on.
I would say everything on team. Everything on that team, like even defense. I think they need a whole bunch.
Oh man, that's tough. Cardinals with number 4, and we're gonna go to Detroit. So this is gonna be cool for us to see. New York Giants number 5, Chargers number 6, Titans number 7, Jets number 8, Falcons number 9, and Bears again with number 10.
I think that's the thing. So my whole thing with the Bears is like Justin Fields isn't terrible. I think you can go with Justin Fields another 2 more years. You trade that number 1 overall pick because I don't think Caleb Williams, and it's sacrilege to all these people out there, I don't think Caleb Williams is going to be a great NFL quarterback. I think he'll be solid. I think he'll do a good enough job at what you want him to do. But I don't think he's going to be better than what Justin Fields has proven to us right now. And that team has so much more needs, right?
Yeah.
They almost made the playoffs last year. This is a team that, once again, the last 2 weeks of the season could have been in the playoffs. You need more than a quarterback. Build around the quarterback you have, because Justin Fields is really explosive. He can run the ball. He can throw the ball. Give him some weapons and see what he can do.
So you would trade that number 1 overall pick? You wouldn't take somebody because then you
No.
got the number 10 pick as well.
No, and that's the only reason why I would trade that number 1 pick, right? So you got to talk to these teams that really want a quarterback. The Washington Commanders, right? Maybe you even talk to New England. You get that number 3 pick, you can go ahead and get yourself like Marvin Harrison Jr., right?
Yeah.
You get yourself a receiver to now go with Justin Fields. They're both Ohio State guys. There's going to be some love there, right? So to me, that's what I'm doing if I'm Chicago, because I have the luxury of still having another top number, like a top 10 pick. Not many teams have ever had that in the history of this game, where you have 2 top 10 picks in the NFL draft.
Yeah, that's true.
So for me, like, you got to do something, because you got to build around that team. Get somebody.
But what else would you get back? Like if you traded the number 1 overall pick for a number 3 or a number 4?
We've seen this a bunch, right? Like whenever the Washington Commanders traded to get RG3, they were the number 3 picking team.
And they moved up.
And they gave up, I want to say it was like 3 number 1 overall picks.
Yeah.
And like 2 second-round picks and maybe even 3 third-round picks.
Yeah,
It was a terrible trade.
If you could get that.
Yeah. So and that's my thing. So let's say you get that number 3 pick, right? Because you're still picking top 5.
And then you get
you still have your top 10. You get a first rounder for the next year. You get a second rounder as well. Like you're building up draft capital.
Yeah.
And you get all those kids on those cheap contracts, because that's what the game's all about. Let's get these people for as cheap as possible and get as much as we can out of them. That's what sports is, everybody. I don't know if you're realizing this. Sports is about money. It's crazy. I would have never thought that.
Yeah, it's a business for sure.
Okay, so looking at all the free agents we got left, is there anyone out there that you're looking at? We'll go ahead and end it on this. I appreciate everyone that's been watching for this almost hour right now. Is there anybody out there that you're saying, you know what, this is who the Dallas Cowboys need? This is what my team needs. Is there anybody out there that you're looking at?
No, I mean, I'd like to see them figure out a way to get another offensive lineman in, after losing Tyrone Smith. Like, they've got him slotted. We have the number 24 overall pick this year, by the way, if people are watching. They've got him slotted to take an offensive lineman. So if we could sign one of those free agent guys, I think if we're going to stick with Dak, we got to continue to do what we've always done and build around him. I think the biggest need's running back, like we talked about. But if they don't go that route, and I would say continue to beef up the defense and offensive line.
And that's the thing with the Cowboys. I think their offensive line is going to be okay, because they have some good young talent on that offensive line, and you're going to be anchored by Zach Martin anyway. And I think the crazy stat is, like, there's been more people that have walked on the moon than Zach Martin has had, like, holding penalties. Like, it's insane. Or he's made more Pro Bowls than he's had holds in his entire career, man. Just stuff like that is insane to me. But I look at the Dallas Cowboys, I kind of feel the same way. I just want them to focus in on defense. So to me, if, like, you can get a defensive player, and I'm looking at the names right now, and I see, like, Chase Young out there on the defensive line. Put Chase Young with DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons. That would be one hell of a defensive front, man.
For sure.
But they would get ran on, because they need big fat guys in the middle. And as we see, that's not a premium in the NFL anymore.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I want to thank you so much for tuning into this impromptu special that we had here. Look at that. I'll tell you about that in a little bit.
We're keeping something off air. That's crazy.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, because somebody got their panties in a bunch and reported us on Facebook.
Why?
I could only imagine why.
We can't curse on here?
No, it was that guy. The one, Robert Powell. So he goes on there, he's like, bro, your voice gets deeper the more cock you put in your mouth. That's what Texas is best for, I guess is what he was trying to say. And I'm just like, okay. And then he's going to go and complain that we were talking bad.
Okay, just to be fully transparent, if there's any least amount of male cocksuckers in the country, it's in Texas. Like, that doesn't fly here.
It just doesn't.
So he's an idiot. Why don't you just block him?
Because I like making fun of people. That's my thing. Like, none of that stuff bothers me, because it's just words.
I'm all worked up. I'm like, fuck
well,
this guy.
Well, and the funny thing is like, I know, and I love this, because I love whenever people, like, recognize me out in public. if he were to ever see me in public, he would never say anything like that.
Of course, that's how they are. That's what they
Right.
do.
So for me, it's like, okay, well, if that's what you're going to do, you're going to report me. You're going to get all mad because you wanted to come on my show and talk all that shit. That's fine.
Didn't you put the link in the description? He could have came on.
Oh, 100%. I've always done that. Right. And that's always my thing is like, I hate people that hide behind an avatar or people that hide behind like a fake profile picture or any of that other stuff. If you want to say what you want to say, just fucking say it.
Yeah.
Right. Like, because how many people do we see that tout that all the time? Right. It's all about freedom of speech. Say what you want to say. But if you get hurt whenever someone says something back to you, you got no reason to get hurt for it. You want to tout the freedom of speech, it goes both ways, my guy.
But you do know that you reacting to this is what he wants. He wants.
Oh yeah, no, I
reaction.
know, but it creates content. So what it does is like the more comments and engagement he gives me, the more it gets shared out there on the algorithm. I'm using stupidity against him.
Love it.
Yeah.
He's a loser.
Yeah, because he's going to go home and masturbate in his mom's basement.
He totally lives in his mom's basement.
Well, I think nothing of this as we have a couple more beers and record
This is
another
all
show.
he's got. Yeah, this is all he's got.
I'm glad that I could be there for him.
Did you say beers? I meant Topo Chicos.
Topo Chico. Oh, both.
Let me grab one.
Yes, please. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end this because we got another show that we're going to do. I think is that what we're going to do? We're going to record like 7 or 8 more.
Yeah, I'm down.
More of
We'll
these.
stay here all night. I don't give a
It was
shit.
it was the Tipping Point NFL Draft Free Agency Frenzy special that we just did right now. I'm going to be interested to see if I'm going to be able to go live this weekend. It'll be fun.
Sorry, we'll do it on mine. If not,
Hey, yo, I like
me
that.
and my 74 followers.
Hey, just share it on the Tipping Point page. We'll be all right.
Let's go.
All right, everybody. We'll see you later. Thank you, YouTube.